Alright guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be breaking down the gold hero EXP Dungeon. Honestly, I've been sat for about an hour explaining because I have so much to say about this actual stage, to where I wanted to make this video both gold hero EXP Dungeon and also the lab sample dungeon. But honestly, these two deserve their own videos because I'm going to talk for too long here. So for the stage, you want to try and clear through as much goblins as possible, right? And all of the goblins are blue. So you might think you want to go towards a full green team. So your team might look like this, for example, to where you bring, you know, your best uniques greens and also your best legendary greens. However, this team just doesn't work. The main reason why is because, well, your counts, your legendaries aren't going to do that much damage if they are not high dupe levels. I'll show the screenshot afterwards, but you can see right now, like, all my actual uniques are going to do so much more damage than my actual legendary characters, and that's because they're not high dupe levels. I think the only usable one actually is Monspeed, because, I mean, Maska's doing actually no damage because she can't hit everyone. And it does come down to what the bosses do, which I'll explain in a second. But once again, the uniques are just going to deal more damage, so always bring uniques here. Okay, so what the actual bosses do is pretty simple. They have one ability to where they can flee, which is a bit RNG heavy because your goal is to hopefully club them all together to where you can do some big AoE nukes, which you have no control over. So if you fail, just keep them resetting until you do get a big nuke hit. Next skill is going to be this one. They are immune towards damage over time abilities. So you might think, hey, I don't want to bring damage over time abilities or damage over time characters. That is wrong. Some of, if not the best character for this dungeon, is a character that can apply acid, that being Mud. We'll talk about him in a second. Our next skill is they do gain evasion. So towards the end half of the dungeon, they're going to have so much evasion that your low dupe legendary characters can't deal any damage. Even if you give them accuracy rolls, it's just not going to work because they have so much evasion. And especially if you get far in your actual, you know, account where you get upwards to like stage 120, you can see they're just not doing damage, right? However, this buff can be removed, so we'll talk about that in a second. And also the veil buff right here means they tank a bit more, which once again can be buff removed. So with all that being said, what is the best free to play friendly team? Probably this right here. Now, hang on a second. You have Barn and King. Let me talk about them. So, King is irrelevant for me right now because he's a lower dupe level than where he should be at right now for my account, which is 3-star. On screen now, you can see the equivalent on when you should be using legendaries over unique characters. Uniques, if you have them towards, you know, higher dupes, you're naturally going to go towards them. But generally speaking, if you're very early in your account or in towards the game, then sure, 1 to 2-star legendaries might be good for you. But when you start getting your unique characters like Kane, for example, towards, you know, 9-star, then 2-star legendaries just aren't going to cut it, so you can't use them. So yeah, do go back and forth a little bit with your uniques and legendaries to see which ones are usable, but you can just lean more in towards uniques because they are going to deal a lot more damage because you can get them towards higher deep level. So yeah, King, like I said, is 2-star. He is going to do absolutely no damage. The only reason why he's on my team is to buff up my mod and to buff up my barn. If you had King up to 7-star, 8-star, 9-star, he might be the best DPS in this actual raid boss, but unfortunately, we do not. Barn, despite him being tied to disadvantage, is, you'll see later on, the best damage dealer, or one of the best damage dealers, because for most of you lot, and especially myself right now, it's a free to play, everyone should be getting this guy duped out towards at least 5 to 6 to 7-star. Finish his banner. Go all the way in on this banner until you hit that final pity. And once you hit that final pity, then stop and save for Escanor or whatever the next banner may be. And as you play the game, you can then spend your awaken token onto him, or what you could do is obviously just play the game and put him naturally. Maskler, you saw in my last run, did absolutely no damage, and to be fair, that's not important. The only reason why I'm bringing that right now is to give me a bit more accuracy for my actual characters, and this does apply towards all allies. So that means we can use more than one colors on our team, and that is what we are doing. So we'll talk about these three right here: Bellion, Meliodas, and also Wineheart. Wineheart has got big AoE skills, so naturally going to be good, but these are the best free DPSs for your uniques, basically, so naturally you are going to use them. Wineheart's not been too impressive towards me, despite him having big AoE skills, apparently. He doesn't do the most, and I got him, you know, potential up quite a bit as well. And also, it was a 9-star basically. Hasn't impressed me a lot here. Bellion, the reason why we're using him, once again, green DPS, going to do more damage for blue characters, but he can buff remove, which is pretty good when all the bosses or the little goblins are getting the veil buff, meaning they're a bit more tankier, and also they get more evasion. So buff removing is going to be very, very good. Bellion is probably a must here. And then probably the best DPS here is going to be obviously Meliodas, who has got big AoE skills, deals more damage towards obviously you know, blue characters. And also, I mean, this skill will get better as you level up your account because you get more crit chance. But moving in towards the two other characters that I think people should be using is Mod. Mod is insane. He's using this ultimate right after King is going to deal insane damage. You will see it's probably going to be one of the best DPSs. And also Kane as well, absolute must here. He is a character that has naturally bigger AoE skills as a DPS character. As you can see, he does got 50. He has got 50 as well. So you'll see right now, if we start with this team, I'll explain the ult rotation in a second, but boom, Melascula buffs up, and then King buffs up, and then Mod can use AoE ultimate, deal some big damage, not as much actually. Wow, Benny got a really good hit there. TV hasn't done that a few runs now, but he got his AoE ultimate off right in the middle of a lot of people to where he's doing a lot of damage right now. Once again, you can see Barn is actually doing the second most DPS on the team because he is just that good in the game, which is why I recommend you not get him duped out. But in terms of AoE damage, it looks like they are fleeing a bit much here. And then boom, we actually managed to clear through it. So that was very, very lucky that Bellion got that big AoE nuke, because I've done a few runs actually and that hasn't happened. I do want to talk about some other characters that you could bring. In terms of unique characters, you could bring Atra to lean a bit more towards blue DPSs, which I did do at my early progression in the game, which worked very well for me as well. In terms of the next characters you could bring, Galan, if you have him, it's going to work quite well. He's got bigger AoE skills, being 40, not 30. And also, he does get buffed up by King. It's not that bad. But, you know, kind of ignore them. If you go down towards the green legendary characters, some of them are usable. In fact, Nanashi is probably the character made for this game mode, since as you can see, his ultimate move, when he does kill someone, he does restore 30 energy. And this hero EXP dungeon has like 20 goblins. So if he does kill someone with the ultimate, you're going to get more energy to where you get more ultimate cycles. This is actually really good if you could dupe him out, because like I said, I can't dupe him out. Two-star is unusable for me. He does absolutely no damage. He's not going to kill anyone with the ultimate, so that 30 restore energy is absolutely useless. Mon speed, to be fair, is actually good. Once again, depending on your dupe level, but if I actually swap him out right now, we'll test them out. We'll put Melascula off and we'll put in Mon speed. And if it, once again, very similar towards what we just saw Bellion, if he gets a good hit where he gets all the characters with that AoE ultimate, it can be good actually. So yeah, Mon speed might be a character you can use at lower dupe level. Zarathustra also really good too. As you can see, he does do a lot of damage here. Also grants attack speed and also restores energy if he kills someone. But once again, he's got to kill people. If he's low dupe level, you cannot do that. And also this AoE ultimate is really good too. So yeah, like Nanashi, Zarathustra, Mon speed, like they're good characters if you can dupe them out. But for most of you lot and myself, after playing for nearly 3 months now, 2 months now, I haven't needed to use them. Alright, so in terms of ultimate rotation, this is what you should be doing. If you use them on speed, probably put them first, because that is the best chance for him to deal damage, because he's low dupe level. They don't have that much evasion. Plus, lowering the critical resistance and defense is actually pretty good, because they're not immune to Hellblaze, which means the damage over time abilities do also work, which is actually really, really good. Then we're going to use King to buff up, obviously, the mod. Then we're going to use Mod, and then we can lean in. I'm probably going to put Bellion first, because Bellion's actually doing really well right now. Even though Bond's lost, you can see he's still doing a lot of damage here. So, I guess positioning does matter. So putting, like, the AoE characters that shoot stuff, like obviously Mon speed and also King, putting them towards the side might be the better thing, where Mod does AoE damage around him. So once again, put him in the middle is probably the best outcome here. So let me see if Mon speed is actually good in this team, at least at my dupe level right now. So he does the AoE ultimate. See, I mean, to be fair, he got 23 million there. That wasn't too bad. So that is where I think he can be a bit more usable. But Mod didn't do as much damage though. Okay, Bellion doing quite a lot as well. Looks, I mean, maybe it's the animation bugging out, but like Monspeed's hitting away from everyone. So I think that's kind of bad RNG of him like hitting everyone. But then again, doing 37 million at 2-star is actually very, very good. And it looks like we are going to do it. So Barn actually doing the most damage here. They're running a bit too far though, so unfortunately I'm not going to do it. So let me try that again. So yeah, when it comes to it, I feel like, yeah, these like core pieces are like by far the best characters to bring, because you got big AoE nukes, big AoE damage. King and Barn obviously very good together, buffing up obviously Mod. Probably don't need to bring King if you're not bringing Mod. You might be able to do it just to buff up Barn, because he's actually still doing, actually seeing a lot of times. sometimes the most DPS in the team. But yeah, in terms of like throwing in Monspeed or even throwing in Melascular, both I think work. I think I'm leaning more towards Monspeed right now because he's actually doing a lot of damage. So yeah, guys, that is going to wrap up the video. Let me know what team you guys are using, and if there is a character that I didn't mention that you think is a bit underrated. Like I said, I'm sure once you do come out in the future, Nanashi, Zarathos, especially Zarathos, would probably be one of the better characters to go for, but if they are not killing people and they're not dealing damage, then they're useless on the team. So for a lot of time, and for majority of time actually, you're going to be going more to unique characters. Bellion, Insane, Melee, Mod, Kane, those 4 characters are just going to clear through and do most of the damage. And also Weinhardt being a bit behind, but I think he does do alright if you get some good hits in. But then yeah, bringing some support legendaries like obviously these 3 right here, and Barn just being Barn, it's going to be good. So guys, thank you for watching, and yeah, peace.